Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Today is Thursday, April the 16th, I believe. Let me check my John Marcel. April the 16th is a Thursday. It's about 9:35 in the morning here in Overland Park, Kansas. Just want to send a couple messages out today. I want to give a quick thank you to everyone that's already subscribed to my channel. It's already a lot of people that I didn't expect I would get so soon, so quickly, and I do want to tell you guys I appreciate that. This is going to be a interesting experience. I'm not really sure what the heck to do, but I figured I would at least start this and kind of go from there and see what's available and see what you guys want to hear from me as far as friends, family, anybody that doesn't really know a lot about me, but is kind of wanting to just, see what the to see what my story is. Just to give you guys a quick little recap of what's going on today. Once again, it's Thursday. No therapy plan today. No, nothing crazy. I'm still waiting to hear back from some lab results to see why I was sick last week. I have a series of infections that normally happen to me. The infections are a part of my life now, unfortunately. It's probably going to be the way it is going forward until I have surgeries done. The doctors think it might be something called chronic osteomyelitis, which is sort of a bone disease, from my understanding. I'm not a really sciencey guy, nor am I very intelligent about science, so I can't give you a breakdown of what it is. But basically, they just caused me to get a bunch of, weird infections here and there that kind of cripple me for a few days. Um, That's really about it today. Just stuck in my room most of the day here in Overland Park, Kansas. I am currently living in a rehab facility. It's basically a place to go after you've had a time to stay at a hospital. It's for long-term rehab and long-term care. Met a lot of interesting people here, some crazy people, some zany stories. You would be amazed at the kind of people you see at a place like this. It's very unique. Last night I was talking with one of the new girls here. She had a stroke a few months back, and now she's partially paralyzed on the left side of her body. She cries a lot. She's upset quite a bit of the time. She doesn't know what her future holds. She's very unaware of what's going on. She's not clear as to what the next step is trying to be. She's also not really embracing her current situation, and dealing with kind of the reality of being sick, which I had the hardest time also dealing with. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today, if I could, and kind of lead that into what I wanted to really discuss today, which is, the current ongoing global situation, and how that affects people close to me and those that affect people, just every day. This young lady she's in her 20s, and her life's probably never going to be the same ever again. That happens all the time across this world. It happens daily. It happens to us all. It happens to us with business, with jobs, with family, with friends. Events take place and it changes your life forever. And it's how you adapt to those changes that really set you apart from everybody else in society. It's how you really learn to deal with those changes and how you apply those changes to your everyday life. Uh, that also leads you to have success going forward in the future. I was talking to her last night and she was struggling mightily. She was crying. She had just talked to her family. Her family is trying to get her to move into more of a permanent long care type of environment that she essentially will live in forever. Um, Unfortunately, I think it's probably because her family doesn't know what to do with her, because she, requires a lot of effort and work, and it's not something that she's probably going to ever be able to live alone ever again. But she's also going through a really hard time trying to grasp her situation. And I keep trying to stress to her that the number one thing anyone can do in a hospital environment or a place like this is to never give up hope. To never ever give up hope, because when you give up hope, that's when you surrender to the demons around you in this place, And that's when you really lose track of who you are as a person. Um, I explained to her my situation and my story. I guess we'll start with doing that real quick. My name is Chris, as you guys all know. Um, about May of 2018, I started to experience a lot of medical issues. A lot of them, unfortunately, was because I'm an alcoholic. That's the first time I think I've ever actually said that and meant that out loud. So that's a pretty big step for me, and I wanted to share that with you guys today. Now it's out there forever and it can't go away, so I can never avoid from me admitting to that. I had a severe drinking problem for a very long time. I used it to cope, I guess. I didn't really understand why I drank, and I still don't to this day. It was against the advice of friends and family who, you know, probably saw the train tracks coming long before I did and saw what's down at the end of the path before I did. And unfortunately, I didn't really listen to that too much. Um, Never saw a doctor for probably 15, 20 years. Towards the towards the late part of 2017 and early 2018, I started seeing doctors. Now, but by then it was a little too late for me as far as trying to back that train track up the tracks. Sorry, the train back up the train track, excuse me. So, long story short, I started having a lot of hip issues in 2018, the last part of 2017. I was not able to walk really well and I was feeling very immobile. I used to be about 430 pounds, if not more than that. So I was very, very, very large. And then I found out that I had early onset osteoarthritis in my hips, primarily in my left hip at first. Um, it was causing me to have a lot of mobility issues. I went to a therapy clinic in Lawrence, and I spent about 4 or 5 months there with great therapists. Wonderful place. Shout out to Ortho Kansas in Lawrence. Wonderful people there, great staff. The more they worked with me, the better I got. But then the other hip started to really mess up, and back then I was in a lot of pain. I drank a lot, just way too much in the first place. And back then, I think I started drinking a lot more than I probably should have. I was coping as best I could. I was in a lot of pain. I was trying to just, drown the pain out. I was never big into painkillers or any sort of pain medication, but I was taking a couple of pills to help try to fight the effects of my arthritis, and I think that maybe is part of the reason why I got sick down the road. So, anyways, going forward, June of 2018, I started having a lot of issues to where I couldn't get up out of the couch and I couldn't stand up. I was in significant amounts of pain. I had a couple of roommates back then who were wonderful guys, and I still love them to death. Was not here anymore, unfortunately. He's passed on. But they tried to help me, and eventually it just became too much, and they kind of, told me it's time to get some help because it's just, I can't be managed, as a roommate, as a friend. And this is where I kind of get a little hazy with this, so bear with me. But from what I understand, I went to the hospital just to get, several things looked at. What I remember most is I started coughing one day. I started coughing up some blood. The blood turned into blood nodes or blood nodules, basically big chunks of blood I was coughing up. I recall falling out of bed. I recall trying to get a nurse's attention. The next thing I remember was a day or two later, I think, or several hours later, I had a bunch of tubes in my body, and my friends were all around me, and they had to explain to me that I had died for 9 seconds and came back to life. I had a cardiac event. What had happened basically was I had an infection that was caused by some wounds on my knees. That was also stemming from me being incredibly drunk one night and basically falling asleep on the carpet on my knees. And I scuffed them up, and that sounds like it's no big deal, but I was in that position for about 14 to 15 hours um, because I was reckless and stupid and drunk, and I made a lot of mistakes back then. But that led to sepsis, which caused my kidneys to eventually shut down. So I had acute kidney failure, acute renal failure, and I had sepsis on top of my other issues. Sepsis is one of the worst things that a human body could possibly have. It's terrible. Um, went to a hospital in Lawrence. Then they started talking to me about the fact that I was going to need a lot of help to try to get better. Um, I didn't really embrace that. I thought it was just going to be a few weeks or a month maybe, and I'll be fine. And despite the fact that my friends kept telling me, "Listen, Chris, it's a lot worse than you think." I've always been a pretty stubborn guy, so I didn't think twice about it. So I ended up going to another facility, and then things started getting really bad. Um, I formed MRSA there. I formed a case of VRE. Um, and as time progressed, I eventually had a collapsed lung. I had COPD. I had anemia. My blood levels were bad for a very long time. I had to get, a dozen or so blood transfusions just to get my blood levels back up to where my hemoglobin count was where it needed to be healthy. Back and forth between hospitals, ping pong between a couple of facilities. People just trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I was on fluid restriction. I had to lose a lot of water weight. Um, Ended up then contracting something. I started off with little bumps on my body. Bumps turned into big red spots and then big welts basically across my thighs. That started to pop my skin slowly but surely. Um, that turned into something that they thought at the time was calciphylaxis. Calciphylaxis is a rare skin type condition to where calcium levels in your body spike and it deals with blood cells and they can't, your skin pops. And I don't really know a whole lot about calciphylaxis back then. If I do know stuff about then, I had, forgotten about it 10 times over because I was really sick at the time. I was incredibly sick. I was going through hallucinations because of my sepsis, because I had a terrible infection. I was on a plethora of antibiotics and steroids trying to figure out, exploratory type stuff. I ended up going to a hospital here in Shawnee, Kansas for a while. After my infection started to get worse, it started to spread, and they were starting to spread to massive parts of my body. I had a surgery on my thigh, trying to get that cleaned up and see if that would help out. That didn't really help out. The infection started to get really bad. I would get daily wound care. The hospital didn't know what to do. I was getting tested daily. I was getting all sorts of scans and blood work, and nobody could really quite figure out what was going on. During this time, the pain was starting to get really intense. Eventually, those infections spread to about 30% of my body, if not more. I had massive holes in my thighs. I had holes in my stomach. Holes in my stomach stretched basically from my left hip to my right hip with a gap in my, kind of the center of my stomach. They were probably 2 or 3 inches tall and about a half an inch deep inside my stomach, so I had open pits of my stomach everywhere. Ended up being told by a few doctors at this hospital in Shawnee that I would never walk again because my hips were so fragile and terrible. I had shown them x-rays of my hips, and my bones were pretty much the joint. My hip joint and my hip bones had been, there's no more cartilage. It was pretty much destroyed. That pain was pretty excruciating on top of my infection pain. That's when I started to get a little crazy on pain medication because I didn't know what to do and I kept blacking out from my wound care. I would thirst to get more and more pain meds because I just wanted the pain to stop. Um, it's pretty intense. I was told I wouldn't walk again. I was told I would need help the rest of my life. I was told I would never work again. I was told I would never live a normal life. I was told I would need constant care 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, it's pretty scary stuff. I didn't know what to do. So I got, I was at that hospital and I got progressively worse. They had to ship me out to another facility to see if they could try anything different. My stay at the hospital had kind of run out. Eventually, I came to this facility to where I'm at now. I was here for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it was getting so bad here that they couldn't manage me here. So I finally got sent to the University of Kansas Hospital here in Kansas, here in Kansas City, Kansas. Long story short, after I went there, I talked to a doctor and to the wound clinic specialist there, and they determined that I had something called pyoderma gangrenosum, which is an incredibly rare skin disease that is caused by a traumatic life event where basically your body turns on itself and it goes a little crazy and haywire while it tries to heal itself. The body is an amazing thing. So basically, after my body healed its kidney issues and my sepsis and all that, it was in hyperdrive, and so my body turned upon itself. Pyoderma gangrenosum sort of looks like gangrene across your body, but it's not contagious. It's not infectious towards others. It's sort of an internal disease. Um, it's it's rare in the form of one in every 100,000 people, so it's incredibly uncommon. And there's no direct treatment. There's no direct cause. I think it's called an idiopathic or an idiopathic disease. I'm not exactly sure. But there's no direct cause for that. So long story short, I had to deal with those wounds. Up until this past week, I had active wounds all across my body, so about 20, 21 months total. My wounds have finally gotten better, so that's great. I went from all of those issues to essentially be healthy now. Um, it's been 20, 21 months of extreme pain, of extreme wound care. My wound care would take 2 and 3 hours a day, um, with some of the most patient, loving nurses possible on most days because my pain levels were you would touch one part of my stomach and I'd have to wait 2 or 3 minutes just to have the throbbing stop so I could do something else. I would black out quite a bit from pain. I would just pass out of my bed and they would go from there. It was pretty crazy. It was pretty intense. At KU Med, I was on the burn unit for a couple of weeks, just because my skin was so insane. I didn't know what to do. Um, they used to put me in something called the tank, which is a giant bathtub basically. It's where they put me under anesthesia and they would spray my wounds down and scrub them and clean them like you would, a car or a pet or a really good strong shower. Yeah. But I couldn't do it obviously when I was awake because I would have blacked out or screamed bloody murder. So anyways, back to what I'm trying to get to the original point, just to give you guys some backstory about me is with all that going on, I had to go through several times to where I wanted it all to end. Not proud of this, but there are multiple occasions to where I thought about what if this would just stop, if I just wouldn't deal with this anymore, if I would just no longer be here, or if I would not wake up one day, if that would just make things better. I knew I'd be in less pain then, so I kind of hoped that occasionally. Some dark stuff, some really dark stuff, questioning a lot about God in my life, questioning a lot about why me, blaming myself for a long time as to why I was in that position, to why I was there, to why I did this to myself. I blamed me for the longest time, and that's fair, unfair, not fair, but I blame myself for a lot of this. So long story short, I say that a lot, excuse me, but long story short, um, I've been through a lot. I hope that experience will help me help people like the girl I'm talking about earlier. I just kept trying to stress to her that you can't give up. You can never, ever give up. You can't quit. You can't let somebody else tell you what your life will be. You can't let someone else determine what you will do with your life. You can't let somebody tell you how your life will be. You control you at all times. So I spoke with her and I told her to just try to get better every single day. And I try to let her know that this is not going to be a quick fix, that in life there are no quick fixes, that in life the only thing that's determinate, that's for real, is that it's going to hurt and it's going to knock you down and it's going to try to keep you down as long as you let it, because that's what makes life wonderful, is you getting back up and achieving something and feeling something. Um, she cries. She cries a lot. She cried today when I talked to her. But I kept stressing her that it's going to be okay and it's going to be all right and that she can never give up. So I know a lot of you guys right now, according to the global pandemic currently taking place, or the ongoing global situation, excuse me, are going through a lot of rough times. A lot of my friends have lost jobs, their spouses have lost jobs. They're staring at a long time of not being able to do things. I've had a couple of friends lose vehicles. I've had a couple of friends scared to death about their homes being taken away from them. I've had a couple of friends who've lost their businesses that they've spent 20 years trying to grow. And the only thing I can offer to them, since I'm not in the workplace anymore, I don't have a home that I live in anymore, I don't really have any stake in the game because I had to become pretty much destitute just to be able to live my life the way it is now, to get the insurance I need, to live my life to where I can get the help I need. The only thing I can offer people, to offer you or anybody else, is that it's going to get better. Is that people are going to tell you you can't walk again. People are going to tell you that you can't get up, that you'll always need help, that you're never going to be able to do what you want to do, that you're never going to get better. But they're not the end result. They are not the ones that control what you do. So while you all are going through a lot of hard times today and tomorrow and the next day because of your business, your lack of a job, your uncertainty of the future, you don't know what's going to happen, your fear of going outside, your fear of strangers, your fear of everything. Just know that it's going to be okay and it's going to be better. If I can come back through what I dealt with, any of you can come back from anything you are going to deal with. I'm no better than any one of you. In fact, I'm a lot worse than a lot of you watching this right now. And I've done a lot of things I'm never going to be proud of, including being an alcoholic, including not listening to my friends and family that really cared about me. And I just dismissed them because I thought I was Teflon for a very long time. Well, obviously, I'm not Teflon, and neither are you. But that doesn't mean that when life kicks you down that you can't get back up. You can always get back up. Always. So today, if you have the ability, if you have the willpower, if you have the heart, you're going to contact somebody at some point today through Instagram, Snapchat, phone calls, Facebook, social media forums, a clip on YouTube, hopefully mine, that people are going to want help and they're going to be dark and they're going to know not what to do and they're going to be desperate and they're going to see despair wherever they go. Just take this to heart, that you can help them by simply reminding them that no matter how cheesy it sounds, it's not about how many times you get hit. It's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how many times you can get back up and really answer the bell every time. I know it's a cheesy Rocky analogy, but it's true. It's very true. You're all going to get hit. This hit everyone globally. And it's going to hurt your business. It's going to hurt your account. It's going to hurt your money. It's going to hurt your patience. It's probably going to hurt your relationships. It might hurt your marriage a little bit because you're stuck and you're broke and you don't know what the future will hold. But I can tell you the future will hold whatever it is you want it to be if you believe in yourself and you believe in the compassion and caring of others. So spend time today. Reach out to somebody. Be there for them. You don't have to give them money if you don't have any money or do any of that stuff. That would be great, though. Talk to a small business in town, purchase a gift card, pre-purchase something, buy something from somebody that makes things by hand. Help them out if you can. If you can't do any of that, just share some love to somebody, share some compassion, share some positivity, because there's not a lot going around these days and a lot of people need it. More importantly, if I can offer anything to any one of you, please reach out. I am here. I don't have a lot to do. I'm pretty much stuck in this room 24 hours a day. But I have a laptop and I have a phone and I have a voice. And I would love to help you if I could. Any of you. So, in short, it's been 25 minutes, but That's phase one of my story. It's kind of where I'm at. It's kind of why I try to view things the way I view things, and it kind of gives you a background as to who I am as a person. Um, I want you guys to have a great day. I want you guys to share some love, share some compassion. Um, Listen to your family and friends. I didn't for a long time, and it's kind of the reason why I'm here now. Um, just show some love today. You know, it's a really easy thing to do, but to make someone smile is the best part of your day. I love you guys, all of you. Thank you so much for all those that have actually subscribed to my channel. If you haven't, please do click subscribe, join, spread the message. I'd love to be able to help people out, just to give some inspirational words or share some stories with y'all. If nothing else, this helps me get stuff off my chest, so I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to listen to me. Have a wonderful day. Bless you all, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.